us out. So for right now, if this is new to you, cPanels are basically uh, in in the layman's terms, websites on steroids. I mean, they're just so freaking cool. You have so many different options, and it is really fun. You get to be the master of your own universe. And so, equipping people with the best tools means that we get their best work. You're not kind of hunting and gathering for quick fixes and little things to kind of cobble together. You have the best of the best right out of the chute. And by doing it that way, it raises your standards. That's the difference between feeding your kids boxed mac and cheese and then showing them how to make it by scratch. Once they eat it by scratch and it's really, ooey gooey and amazing, um, their taste has improved. They don't necessarily like the box prefab stuff. We all become mac and cheese snobs, and it's a good thing because then it's healthier and such. But at any rate, I think that has given the boys enough time and wiggle room to get everything fired up. You should be on the innovatorsthinktank.com to see the live stream, or up top. I do believe there is a live stream en route if it's not
Yeah,
there already.
it just started. Sorry, I forgot to click start live,
See,
but it
it's
did just
it's
start.
perfect. It's perfect. You're awesome. Alistair puts that up there for those that want to maintain. We know that you're toggling a ton of screens, right? I'm on my phone, right, in order to do the space. But you're on a laptop. You've got many windows open. Whatever way fits your workflow, whether it's the website or the thing up top, you take it and run with it. Okay. And for those that are new to the class today, if you are wanting to partake, we got to make sure that you're in the Slack channel. So you're going to have to DM Cash Money Kev, who can get you into that. He can get you into the Slack channel, and we will be having to give you a cPanel. So you'll have to get a link in the background. I will tell you, if you're here just to get the link and then ditch and then not come back, it's not going to stay activated forever. I will tell you that. You have to kind of come to class. It's almost like, you know, having a poison or an antidote kind of scenario in your veins, right? You have to show up in order to keep it maintained. If you don't, then you know what, you're going to fade out there in the universe. But at any rate, I think we're about ready to begin. Alisher, I'm going to give it off to you. Grotesque and Bored, both of you folks are new. Give me a heads up if you are wanting to participate, because some people just want to sit and listen, because it's not political, it's not anything else, and they're like, "Ooh, I'm learning by proxy and osmosis." We love you, and that's great. If you want to just do that, that's okay too. There's no pressure, there's no stress, there's no obligation. We are grateful for your presence, and so without much more fanfare, I'm going to hand it off to Alisher. Alisher is one of my favorite people at Tech and Schools. Nick, Ross, and Alisher are the super geniuses behind the behind the scenes that pull all the levers and make everything go. They toss glitter like unicorn farts. It's awesome. Our whole world's shiny and beautiful because of them. So, Alisher, how are you this morning, friend?
I'm good. I'm just getting my morning started, and I guess what a better way to start with a little bit of coding, a little bit of cPanel work. And yeah, if you guys want to participate, and if you weren't here last night and did not get a cPanel, I highly recommend you inquire about that so we can send you a link, and we could also get you started in Slack. Um, I see you have your hand up, Jeff. What's up? Let's get some questions out of the way before we start.
Um, yeah, I won't be able to participate in the class again, so I'm not worried about Mark because of
That's
financial
okay.
issues, and I can't DM. I can't DM, but I would like to be in the Slack channel so I can at least follow along there
I
with
think you're
everybody.
already in Slack, and you could just join the channel. I
Okay,
can
yeah.
add you in actually, and
Okay, I just want to make sure I'd be able to join that channel. And after that, I'll shut up
anybody
now.
who's already in Slack can join that channel. We just have a new channel for every season, so it's a little bit more organized. Now, if you have your cPanel, you can participate. If you still have your cPanel, we have not. We pretty much reactivated everybody. And let me add you in here, Jeff G. There you go.
Jeff, you're going to want to make sure when you're in the Slack channel to look at the hashtag. It has that PHP in it. That's the one you'll know you're in the right place. Okay, kid? Excellent. And I do think, Jeff, if you had a cPanel before, it will be reactivated if you can
Yeah.
hear me. Okay. So if it's not there, then we'll make sure to get you a link in the background. You can still participate. Go ahead, Alisher. Sorry for interrupting you, love.
Okay, guys. So I think the important part to go over first, since we had a lot of new people last night, is how to get to your cPanel. So you're all familiar with the hosting platform, where you can go to hosting.mytsi.org. You can sign up, and on that hosting platform, you actually get a link. Right. This is what it looks like. So when you log in as a customer, you're gonna get a bunch of orders, and you want to go to your recent orders. I think most of you will only have one that's labeled as active. So we try to keep it one per person. And the one that I have active that I'm going to be using is probably going to be this one. You want to click on the order number. Not that one. I just had Alisher test. There you go. And here you have your link. You have username and you have password. And you don't want to click the link because when you click the link, it's actually broken. You can't go to it. What you want to do is you want to copy and paste the link. Or you can copy and paste the link in your browser. And then from here, you can log in using these credentials that are set up for you. Now, another way to get to your cPanel is by going to the domain that's been assigned to you. So I have this domain, alishertest.tsiprogram.org. We will all have a domain that ends in tsiprogram.org. So I can also go to this link and then just type /cPanel. This is a little trick for anybody who's using cPanel with a domain. Right, it'll redirect you immediately to your cPanel login. Either way works. Both ways are secure. As you saw, I didn't have any messages pop up with warnings. And all I'm going to do is just copy this username and password and log in. Now, what I recommend you do to avoid this whole step is just bookmark it. Right, bookmark your cPanel link somewhere and save your password. And then you can avoid logging into this hosting platform altogether. And I'm actually going to save this password so I can get back in it. And so now all I really have to do is remember the link. Right, the link is easy. The link is my domain, /cPanel. Now let's check this out. Looks like here, just like a lot of us from seasons 2 and 3, I have all sorts of websites. And it's okay. We're going to start to separate things into folders a little bit more and be a little bit more organized. Now, cPanel, to give you guys a little bit of a review, cPanel is pretty much like a front end. It's this UI that lets you interact with a server, right? Whether it's changing files on the server, adding databases on the server, it pretty much just makes it easier to do, not having to go to command line and do it all manually, right? It gives you this nice UI that you can navigate with, manage things with. It's an enterprise tool, right? This is what enterprises do. Whenever they make a new website, they have a whole management panel for it. Now, you do get cPanel for free with us. And if you're not in Mighty Networks, you have the cPanel for the duration of the program. I think this time around is going to be, the program is going to be 6 weeks, and then you have an extra week afterwards to move your stuff. And if you need help moving your stuff from a cPanel to like your own server, just let us know. It's fairly easy, and we can even show you how to get your own cPanel, of course. Now, what we focused on mostly out of all these tools yesterday was the file manager, right? Where we created our folders and where we put in the first project. Now, our first project is pretty simple. It doesn't have any sort of database. It manages everything using a JSON. And JSON, you know, we spoke about what JSON is a little bit last night, but at its core, JSON is sort of just like a structured file. right? You can use JSON for databases. It's actually what Pixio uses for a database in Firebase. But I think for the most part, it's just a file that has structure. It has like a very rigid structure, so you know where everything is and in what place. Okay, any questions so far?
Oh, oop, didn't raise my hand, but that's okay. Um, sorry, I'm late to class. I am in my cPanel. That's as far as we are, right?
Yes, that is as far as we are. Okay, and now is when we're gonna start doing things. So you want to go to File Manager, and if you can't find File Manager because sometimes things sort of escape our sight, it's hard to find them. The text is kind of small here. There's a search in the top right, and in the search you could just look for File Manager. Okay, in our File Manager, our file structure for the most part at this point will be the same, right? We're gonna have a few folders here. Some of them are gonna have these little icons that are different from the regular folder icon. So here, what we kind of care about is one folder, public HTML. If this folder that has a little globe, if you go to the other folder that's labeled the globe, it's gonna take you to the same place. But we care about this public HTML folder. This folder, the reason it's called public HTML is everything inside of this folder is displayed on the web when somebody goes to your website. So if we take a look at it, I have all sorts of folders and files here. It looks like I have a whole WordPress website here. I can actually delete that. Let's see, here's my main WordPress website. Doesn't look like there's much on it. I'll clean it out. If you guys have things there from previous seasons that you don't use, I highly recommend backing it up and clearing it out. Okay, so this should be a little bit cleaner now that we look in our file manager. Okay, cool. So now I just have the folders that I used. Now check this out. A few things for you guys to keep in mind. When you're in cPanel, and I'm gonna make this bigger, in File Manager, there's a lot of options. And one of the more important options you wanna check if they're enabled is if you go to Settings and you show hidden files. Because sometimes there's gonna be files that have a dot in front of them that will not be shown. So you wanna have that just to make sure that you have everything showing and you're able to access all the files. For example, if you notice suddenly this .well-known folder appeared that wasn't shown before. Every new cPanel, if you haven't done this in season 2 or 3, I recommend you do it now. So every new cPanel has this option disabled, and you want to enable it. It's in Settings, in your File Manager, in the top right. Show hidden files. It's important because if you guys remember, last season, one of the files is .env, right? The environment variable file. And the reason it's called .env is because the dot makes it invisible. So if you ever want to edit your env file, you want to make sure you show those files. Okay, now from here, what we did is we created a folder. Right, and to create a folder in File Manager, there's a little plus folder in the top left. And I'm going to call this folder Season 5. So I know that this is what I'm working on. Now, at the end of the day, this folder structure, however long it is, it's not really going to matter because you can add a domain to shorten it, right? So let's say, for example, right now, people have to go to alishertest.tsiprogram.org/season5/something else to access my website. And once we add our domain as we go further into the season, all of that is going to get shortened. So some simple domain like chat.alisher.com or something like that. Now, inside of this folder, I think we're launching 3 different things. So I'm going to create the first folder. I'll create all 3 of them. 1, 2, and 3. Again, what you name them doesn't really matter as long as you know what's in them, as long as you know what they are.
Just make sure also you're not using any capital letters or
Yes,
spaces. Just use little
absolutely,
letters. Little letters, no
absolutely.
weird symbols, no capital letters. It'll just, your future self will love you for that.
Yes, sir, you're absolutely correct. You want to use lowercase letters, no spaces, because if we check this out, let's go to our domain. This is the main reason. If you look at our domain, if you have nothing in your public HTML folder but folders, this is what it's going to look like. This is your typical fresh installation almost. And now check this out. As we go further into these folders, for example, season 5, your domain gets incremental, right? Now it goes to your domain / season 5. Then you go to folder 1. It goes to /1. When you start to add things like spaces and capitals in here, it starts to get a little muddy. If you add a space, it's like 4 different symbols that it has to substitute instead of a space. So it gets a little bit annoying. Now you can use dashes, you can use underscores if you want to kind of separate words or something like that, but just avoid spaces and capitals. Just structure-wise, you forget you have a capital there, and it is actually the capitalization does actually matter in this situation. Okay, we have our folders. Now, what we put inside these folders, I think Ross shared a project in Slack last night. So if you go to the Slack channel, let's see, is everybody in this idea to impact PHP Slack channel? You can scroll up, you can find this zip shared by Ross. It's called Chat GPT-3 OpenAI HTML5. Make sure you download it. I already have it. It's gonna stay here for now. We might remove it like next week or the week after. What's up, Dan? You have a hand up.
Yeah, I guess I'm not in the PHP AI app one.
Awesome. Yeah. So if you scroll through, you'll see a post from Ross. I'm actually going to, let's see if I can forward it. Yeah, there you go. Forward file, and I'm gonna put it in the same channel. I'm gonna put files for the first project because we're gonna be launching a few this season. Now, guys, this is gonna use OpenAI, as the zip name suggests. So just prepare yourself for that. But we'll also try OpenRouter, right? It's very easy to switch these things out. All these sort of AI companies make it easy to switch between them. I think I already did it like 5 minutes before we started. Okay, so let's see how we can upload this. Now, File Manager, you can't just drag things in here. You actually have to click this upload button. So what you want to do is I'm going to go to my folder. That's the first folder, folder 1, or whatever it is you called it. And I'm just going to upload my zip file. Now, here I have my template, and this template is a little bit different from yours. So we'll test out this template first. I'll test out my template. You guys can upload Ross's template. Hmm? And I'll show you how to get both keys as well. And what modifications you can start making as you go on, because I think Ross gave you homework, guys. I think this is a fun one too, because everybody's gonna end up making something completely different. And something Nick pointed out last night is if you guys ever heard of character AI, this is like a smaller version of character AI. Now check this out. When you go back to your tab, you're not going to see anything in here sometimes. Sometimes it needs a reload, but reload doesn't mean refresh the whole page. Reload means click this reload button on top in your file manager, and that will update your file directories. Now check this out, guys. It's a zip, so we have to extract it. So whenever you get a project, you always are going to end up uploading it as a zip and then extracting it, unless you're using something like FTP. Because at the end of the day, this could contain thousands of files for all you know. So having it and transporting it as a zip is always easy. Now, there's a few ways to extract it. You can click, you can select the file first. So just click on the file once, and then select one of these options on top, like extract, or you can right click on the file and extract that way. Either way works.
Hey, Alistair, sorry to jump in. I'm not in that Slack channel, so I can't get the zip.
No problem. I'm gonna add you right now.
I just realized I have the same issue.
Folks, you also have to make sure to, sometimes we get the streams crossed in that Slack channel, and it can cause all sorts of grief. So you want to make sure that it has like the little hashtag and then our season. And I just look for the PHP thing. It just makes it easier. So, um, yeah, you don't want to end up in an area where you have your own Slack channel, because then they're going to charge you for stuff. This is a secret bat cave, right? You want to be in that one.
Yeah, and since you guys are already in our Slack, for the future, check this out. You can click Add Channel, and you can browse channels and then find the channel that you need and add yourself.
I had no idea you could do that.
So if you're ever like you're not in the channel and we accidentally skipped over you because we didn't see you in the audience that day, you can add channel and then browse all the available channels, and just make sure you're adding yourself to the right one, because a few times I've already added myself to the wrong one because there's a lot of them. Some of these channels are pretty useful. Like I think help channel that you created, Dan, extremely useful if anybody ever needs help. I know people spend a lot of time in that channel as well. But you both should be added. I think State, you were the other person that said something about not
Thank
being
you.
in Slack, right?
Yep, I'm good.
Awesome. Yeah, I'll give you guys a minute to upload these files. And what you're gonna notice is that when you extract them, you get a few files here, right? Of course, one of the important files, a project will always have this README file that kind of describes what the project is and how to work with it. So let's view this file. Yeah, there's nothing there, but at least it talks about something. Right here, watch the video for instructions. So for your homework, guys, if you want to watch this video and learn a little bit more, you could. But this is most likely either a script that we bought and repurposed for teaching purposes and learning, or a script that we found on GitHub and just added to our library for learning. You can read a little bit about the product, and you can see some of the changes that we've made to it so far. So the changelog is always useful as well. If you're ever working on your own, changelog actually shows you exactly what files there are and what they're doing and what's been added over the years, I guess. Okay, and now we have this folder that's full of files that actually make the app work. Now, typically, what you want to do is you want to maybe move this to the correct folder. When you extract, it might create a folder for you, right? So in this situation, the files folder was already there. It didn't create anything new for me, but sometimes it may create like a long folder name or something like that. And what you want to do is you typically want to bring it up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click, I'm going to select all, and I'm going to click this move button. And as you can see, it asks you where you want to move all these files. And for me, I'm just going to move it one folder up. So from the files folder, I'm going to move it up to the first folder. And that way your URL of how to access it gets shorter and shorter, right? And sometimes when you extract something, that long folder name might contain spaces, it might contain special characters. So you always want to put your files in a folder that's a little bit easier to access. This is very typical with extracting zips. It may create folders, it may create 2 extra folders, a folder inside a folder, as we found out when we download a zip from GitHub. And so now I have all of my files here where they're a little bit easier to access. And check this out. When it comes to websites, when you have a file named index.whatever, right? Index.js, index.html, index.php, it's always going to be the first page that loads whenever somebody goes to this directory. So we can actually already access this by simply going to our first folder, right? And immediately it loads in the whole app. Cool. And because this app doesn't have any sort of a database that needs to connect, all it does is it uses that JSON for all of these descriptions, names, models. We don't need to do anything. We can just go to it and it will be working and running already. Right? Just a simple HTML page that's pulling all these things. Now, let's see how we can actually make it work. Because from this point on, we need to connect the API key to make the AI part of it work. And we also need to maybe change some of the names and start customizing this, right? So let's check this out. Here, as you guys can see, there's all sorts of folders. And I want you to note this down. The JSON folder is going to contain a lot of the configuration. So this is where you can change all the characters. This is where you can change some of these other things in the config as well, like what the models are. So here's your characters. You might want to censor some bad words depending if this is going to be a kids app or not. As you can see, this template is very kid friendly. And then here in PHP is where we have most of the function that happens in this app, right? So this app is like a mix of HTML, PHP, and JSON. Now, the important part here is I made a few changes to it. It's just like one completions link, like it always is. And what we care about is this key.php inside of the PHP folder. This will contain the spot for your API key, right? So you have, I think you guys have an option. You need OpenAI key, right? So that would be located at platform.openai.com. So remember, platform.openai.com. You can log into your account. You might need some money in your account. I think one of my accounts has money. I remember topping up at some point. Maybe like $10.
It used to be $2. Now
Yeah, $5. Yeah, guys, check this out. So this is,
Alisher, just to
yeah.
jump in real quick, we mentioned this last night. When you're taking classes like this, make sure you have like a prepaid color, credit card, something that's not attached to anything else. It's just easier to have on hand, and you would use it for things like this, just to make sure that you have a couple bucks if you need to. There are some banks that get all antsy about making a $2 charge because they're going to charge you $3 in fees in order to do it. So just add that into the recording and think about it, keep it in mind. If you're going to be building stuff like this, it's always wise. You don't need a lot on there, maybe 50 bucks or less, but you can always recharge it if you need to. So continue, Alisher.
Yeah, so for OpenAI, you're gonna need, I think like $5, and you can access this page by going to your profile, and top right, clicking your profile, and then go to billing. That's how you add credits. And now what we care about is the API keys. So you can go to API keys and you can create a new key. Now, what's very important is when you're creating this new key, we can give it no restrictions. That's fine, default project. But what's important is that you copy this key and save it somewhere because you're never going to see this key again. And they tell you. You won't be able to view it again. So make sure you either save it or know that you can delete it and create a new one again, a completely different key. It's not going to be the same one anymore. And now once you have your key, we're going to go back to key.php and we're just going to replace where it says your API key here. All you have to do is just replace what's inside the quotes. And that's it. Your API key is set now. You can save. Make sure you click Save Changes. I'm going to get a little loading. Now, for me, what I did is before we started, I edited this template to use something else, right? I edited this template to use OpenRouter, which we're also familiar with. We're familiar with OpenRouter from the previous seasons. It's an alternative. It has GPT, but it also has hundreds of other models, right? And what I care about is the free models, because I don't want to give OpenAI money. I just want to test things out. So I'm going to sign into my account, and I'm actually going to get this key, and it's a very similar process. You know, it's not much different. Even the key kind of looks the same. Yeah, they all look the same. Create a new key. Let's call this animals. Right, this is chat animals, AI animals. Here you can even set a credit limit. But there's models that are free, so I don't really need a credit limit. It's never going to use credits. Now, a way to test this out is to, of course, go and chat with one of the animals. So I'm going to give this a refresh. And I know Ross also said that I might need to go in incognito.
It's deep cache.
So let's go into incognito. And for me, essentially, each one of these has their own model that you can set, right? So you can have different models for different characters here. And for me, I think I only set up the first one. So I only changed this model. And, you know, just give it a test, give it a question. Oh. That's good. No wasted tokens. And there you go, it immediately answers. And it's pretty fast. I think this is Llama. And that's it. That's really all you need to do to set this up. It's fairly simple. Now, you guys can ask questions, but in the meantime, also, let's take a look at how we can edit these, right? So each one of these has their, you know, their own name, their own prompt of how to answer, and of course, their own little SVG icon. So let's check this out. Now, if we go to our file manager, all of this is going to be located inside of JSON, right? JSON, think of this as almost like the database of characters. So here we have characters.json. I already have it open. And let's start reading some of this. Here's the first character, right? You have elephant, you have the image, you have the description, right? These are all the things we see on the page. So if I go back, here I have elephant. Here I have is that the description? Let's see. Hello, yep. Here I have the description. And then when you click talk, this first message, hello, my name is blah, 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 that's also here as well. It says the welcome message. And then the part where it says training, that's essentially your system prompt for that character. So these are all the things you want to start editing. And then also there's API model. So I think for most of you, this uses GPT. Since I'm using OpenRouter, I'm changing all of these to the free API model for MetaLlama. And it's the small MetaLlama too, so it's nice and fast. And yeah, this is pretty much how you edit your characters. Now, let's check this out. So this goes to thumb/elephant.svg. Now, if we go to our files, we can actually find that in our files, right? Here, I can find the thumb folder. Thumb typically stands for thumbnail. And here's all of the vector graphics for these characters. Yeah. It doesn't have to be vector because in the JSON, you could always change it. You could always change it from elephant.svg to whatever it is, .png. SVG is just faster and lighter to load. It could be a GIF, you're right. So that's how you edit all of these. Now, I don't really have any ideas for my characters. What should I do, guys? What should be my character? Give me some ideas. We'll do one together right now.
Harry Potter.
Harry Potter, yes.
That'd be great.
We'll do Harry Potter.
Do all the Harry Potter people.
Honestly, that's a good idea.
Harry
You
Potter's
could put
brilliant.
The Harry Potter characters. Now check this out. Here's a quick secret, guys. We can copy this whole thing and have the AI do the whole JSON file. I'm just gonna have it do one. I'm just gonna have it do this one. So name, it's gonna be Harry, of course. We'll start with the first one. The Golden Boy.
Hey, Alisher, I have a quick question. Jane just sent me a text in DM and she's trying to get into her cPanel. Jane, did you actually get into it? Thumbs up or thumbs down?
And Jane,
I
you
just
can request speaker as well, by the way. Feel free. And also,
Excellent.
I think from last night, we also figured out that some internet service providers they block certain domains and IP addresses randomly. For example, at home I have that issue when I'm in Brooklyn, like Optimum blocks something. So try to use a VPN.
Yes, I am. I am on in my MJ Services account, but I can't get. I don't know how to go from the picture that I sent you there. I don't know how to get to my the where all the files are and all that stuff.
Um, you can just in the URL at the top add /cpanel.
So Richie posted.
And where did you set the picture so I'm able to actually see it?
I'll send it to you. I'll show you right where I'm at.
Yeah, you can DM me either here or on Slack.
Just sorry, quick question.
Yeah, I just
yeah,
sent your DM with
I
the
see it. Let me
picture.
wait, check. Oh, okay. Yeah, no, you're already in cPanel. Remember the DigitalOcean part of it is just for you to get to cPanel. So once you're already in cPanel, you don't really need to worry about DigitalOcean. And what
So
you
how
need
do
to
I
do?
get to the IDE part?
Okay, yeah. So what you need to do is you need to find File Manager out of all those tools, and then you need to look through your files and find where you had the project from last night.
Okay. All right, I'll check.
Yeah, check. Your folders might look very different. And again, feel free to send me another picture. I can direct you from there as well. Looks like that was pretty quick on Twitter. Now let me see. Well, in the meantime, I'm gonna edit this one out. This one character. Yeah, guys, feel free to interrupt me. Feel free to ask any questions if you're stuck somewhere while I'm editing this.
Just a real
course.
quick question. What was the site again where you got the free API keys like the llama?
So that was Open Router, and for that, you need a different piece of code, right? So I'm gonna give you guys the code in Slack right now, actually. So I'm gonna hop in Slack real quick, and I'll give you a different zip that you can like replace all the files. It's the same exact zip with like 2 or 3 changes to it. Let's see if I can just drag this zip. Yeah. There you go. Here you go, Dad. I just put it in the Slack channel, and it's called OpenRouter.ai, the website.
Awesome, thank you. And just quick comment, something Sarah said last night. I am using 2 screens finally, and she's right. Like I keep clicking on the wrong one.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
happens.
the
You know,
struggle
sometimes I
is
use two
totally
screens,
real.
too.
I do
I
it
just
all
one.
the
Really?
time. Yes.
I like the gesture. Yeah, guys. Also, what I found interesting is if you're like on the laptop plus another screen, take advantage of the gestures. So what I noticed is the gestures are super intuitive when it comes to switching between screens because when you go to that screen where you see all the windows, you kind of get a view of everything that's open on whichever screen, right? So the windows are like unique to each screen. So it's becomes pretty useful. And if you're on Windows also, well, also on Mac, you can have different desktops, right? So you can have like desktop one that's set up for idea to impact on every Wednesday and Thursday, and then you can have desktop two that's set up for your everything else. Just some things that over the years I've been getting used to. It's having different setups already prepared for me and just there. Especially on the Mac where your computer doesn't really turn off, where it kind of stays on for most of the time. Okay, let's actually edit this character now. Oh, definitely. You could probably like rewrite Harry Potter from memory.
Hey, Alicia,
What's up?
I was fortunate enough to have my API key previously, but looking for where to put it. Is it the key.php?
Yes, it is. And in key.php, when you go in there, just make sure you're putting your key between the quotations.
Okay. What do I actually use to edit this? Because this is a new Windows install. I don't have much
Right. So
installed
check
here.
this out. In File Manager, you're in the cPanel, right?
Right.
So in File Manager on cPanel, when you find that key.php file, right? So I'm gonna go to PHP folder.
Just
Here's
click
the
edit.
PHP. You can right click and edit. And cPanel has like a built-in editor.
Sure. Thank you.
Yeah, okay, I found my way in. Do I have to download that zip file again, or
No, you
is
don't have to. If you already have everything set up from yesterday, you're all good. You can just
okay, perfect.
edit, kind of practice editing the characters and making the characters.
Yeah, okay, yep, I got that. And then I go into PHP to get there, right?
So
Oh
to get
no,
to the
I just
character,
click on my website. That's right.
so yeah, so to get to the actual website, you click on your URL and then navigate to that folder.
Yeah.
And to get to where you edit the characters, it's inside of this JSON folder. And then there you'll find character.json, which has
Okay.
all of them.
All right, thanks.
Okay, let's see. So I am making character AI. Here is my JSON structure
Gonna be so happy. So my heart.
example. And okay, I'm gonna say I want to change description, character. Oh, what else is there? Description, welcome message, and training. Remember, training refers to the system prompt that it has to reflect the character
Oh, look,
of
that's the thing.
Harry
Fine.
Potter.
Let's play 5. Okay. Over. Good.
Oh goodness.
Just say answer in JSON.
It wants to know more.
Oh. Just say any. You say make it up.
No. Let's make it real.
All right.
I would say Harry Potter throughout his lifetime. Throughout his life.
Look.
And then let's do 2. Oh, right. This is 2. No, I would say change the expert field too. I think if you guys If you guys ever saw the musical, he does, become something like the minister or something like that. Minister of Defense. I don't remember. Would you like to keep the same chat parameters? Yeah. And of course, you can change chat parameters as well. If you want to change something, you can keep going with this AI conversation and keep editing that JSON. But this is perfect. This is going to give me the exact structure I want. Perfect. And change the color to red. That's great.
Alistair, you got to make Dolores on bridge.
Oh my
You got
word, yes.
you got to do that for the greater good. It just has to happen.
Now let's. Yeah, I think maybe I'll probably build this out. I think by next week I'll build this one out with you guys. I think this Harry Potter. I like the idea. I might actually invest time into it.
You also have to have
because-
the magic owls also. I wanted
Yes,
to welcome
yes.
Nita also in our audience just to say hi. We're in the middle of class, but she is a friend of the Innovators Think Tank and she gets a big squishy hug from those of us on the panel. So continue, Alistair.
Yes, guys, and very important when you're pasting into JSON, just be mindful of the commas, right? So each one of these blocks is separated by commas. Check this out. Over here, I'm going to zoom in. We have these little drop downs, right? So in line 2, I have a drop down. It'll actually crunch each character. So once I'm done with the character, I can just crunch it and go to the next one. And notice how each one of these, each character has the brackets, and then at the end it has a comma. So that's kind of like your JSON structure.
This will need to refresh.
Now, there is one thing I did not add, which is the SVG. So let's get a little Harry Potter picture going. No, I'm gonna go to Pixia.
I think a GIF would be amazing.
A GIF. Ooh. Okay. Let's try a GIF.
Good work.
Yeah. So the problem with the GIF doesn't have a transparent background, right? So it's gonna look a little wonky. So I'll keep it with a PNG because it'll blend in better. But typically a GIF doesn't have a transparent background, and when it does, it's a little bit of a wonky transparent background. And I'm actually gonna try the new Flux graph for this. So let's.
Black
Yeah, I would say Harry Potter.
or red background.
Harry
something-
Potter portrait. Let's do square. And I'll just keep it Harry Potter portrait. We'll keep it general.
background.
The boy who lived. Fluxcraft Ultra, pretty good by the way, guys. The new Fluxcraft model.
It's like
And if you enable this raw, I can say like a Polaroid of Harry Potter, and it'll give you like an actual Polar of the style and everything.
oh,
That's perfect.
That
You
is
know what?
perfect.
That's amazing.
wow.
Download.
Like crap. Ultra. Look at you.
And I'm gonna remove background too. So edit images. Move background.
When you said SVG, I was hoping we'd get this live Fluxcraft demo, so thanks for reading my mind.
Yeah, so it could be a PNG, right? It doesn't have to be an SVG either. But you could actually go and make SVG and recraft.
Yeah, that's in recraft. He could show you. It's like, ooh, that's so good too. Pixia is doing magic today.
There you go. This is perfect. Download image. Okay. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna put this image where it tells us to put it, right? So all these directories are relative, so we need to look for this directory labeled thumb. Right? That's gonna be the name of the folder. So I'm gonna go up, I'm gonna look at my folders, and here I have a folder that says thumb. Now, I think the one I was using before was the elephant one. So to keep it clean, I'm gonna get rid of the elephant one. And I'm gonna upload the Harry Potter one.
Is it too fast?
It's HTML.
I know, but characters, but you can. I need to download.
It's HTML. It'll load eventually. Now let me rename it. It's called remove the image
And in
background.
the future, you guys want to make sure you're like making compressed images, because it will work, but it will take forever.
So Harry Potter.png. And what I have to keep in mind is that in my JSON, I also have to make sure that I have the correct one. So it says SVG. I want to change that to PNG. And just overall make sure that the name is correct as well. So this is what links it all together. Now I'm going to save it. And Ross said I need to refresh my cache.
Incognito or something.
So I get out of incognito and then go back in.
That's not work.
Quick question: is there some sort of like find all and replace command in JSON?
There.
So what you can do is you can download that file and do it in something like Visual Studio Code where it's a little bit easier. Right, and then upload the file back up. But there is a download and replace all, but you're gonna go case by case. You might even delete some characters anyway.
Yep.
And there you go, Harry Potter. That's perfect. Nice and red as well. Good background.
Cool.
So just the image got a little bit crunched.
that.
Yeah.
That looks awkward.
Let's see. Tell me about you.
He's so in character.
Now I might have an API issue. No,
No.
there you go.
He's writing a lot, man.
Yeah, he's writing along.
I'm telling you a story.
This needs 11 labs. I don't want to read all this.
It has actually integration. Are you on mute? On your computer?
What do you mean?
So like if you hit
I'm here.
he,
Yeah,
I think has a play button. See?
yeah. I
You
just
could
don't
turn-
want to.
Yeah. They have that ability. No, no, no.
I just don't want to have the echo. Okay, yeah. So far it works, guys. Now, any questions? Remember, you can also clear your chat if you wanna clear this out. This looks like typical PHP
Laravel.
UI.
It's literally Laravel. Like it's definitely Laravel.
This is cool. This is cute. You can look where you can change this logo as well, guys. What I highly recommend you do is you look through the file in Visual Studio Code because there you have search tools, right? So you can search where it says smart animals, so you can change it. But this is just logo. You can search where it says what animals would you like to talk to and replace it.
Welcome to Hogwarts.
But for you guys, I highly recommend, I think your homework is to focus on actually filling in some of these animals. You don't have to do all of them. You can delete some of them. But I would say do like 5 to get a hang of what it's like to work with this project and navigate it before we move on to the next project. So any questions, guys? This is pretty much as far as we've got up to last night.
Jeff has a question, hon.
So, just listening in, and it sounds like what you've got going here is all doing text response. Could this be linked to a voice interface?
Yeah. So you can link it. You can probably link it to the OpenAI voice interface, or you can build something on your own for 11 Labs. But keep in mind, voice is expensive. So just keep that in mind. Both 11 Labs and OpenAI voice is substantially more expensive than whatever you get with text. You could also link it to like a really robotic browser voice.
Microsoft PDF.
Because remember, all these computers, all these devices, they have their own text to speech. It's robotic. It doesn't sound great, but it's free. Ah. Does anybody else have any questions? Remember, I'll give you guys one key thing to remember before we end. For your homework, If you go into the JSON folder, JSON, you're gonna find character.json file in there, and that's how you edit all the characters. This is the important takeaway from today for next time and how to do your homework. Go ahead, Dan.
Yeah, I did have a question on the editing because I think you kind of blitz through it every time you hit the edit button, but it gives like a little pop up that says, "Are you sure? Should you back it up first?" You know, like warning, warning. So, is there any reason I mean, we can just kind of if we mess something up completely, we can just download the file again from Slack, right, and like start over.
Yep. Yeah, you can just download the file again, or
Just upload it
I think
again.
if you're still in here editing, you can undo. Right, there's undo, redo buttons here. But once you save and exit, yeah, you can't really undo.
Gotcha. That makes sense. Yeah, yeah. Upload. Yep. Perfect.
Yeah, I was
Okay, I
just
got
saying
a
that 'cause we
stupid question. Um,
Go ahead, Jane.
how do I get to my website?
Okay, so for you,
I know it's in file one. I know that
let's see.
we
I'm gonna go
created
to.
a new one, and I have it up in my uh, search bar up there. I just forgot how what what do I do to just get there?
Let's see. So the easiest way for you to get to your website is if you go to cPanel,
Yeah.
there is actually a link to your website. So here, I'll show you on my cPanel. Um, it's right here. It says primary domain. All you have to do is click that, and it will take you to your website. And then from there, you can navigate the folders. So on the cPanel main page, it's on the right side under general information. You
Okay.
have a little primary domain with a lock. You can click on that, and that'll always take you to the front page. And then from there, you can either navigate to the folder by doing like /app or whatever it is your folder is.
Okay. Thanks.
And then you can keep navigating. So I think you probably have something like app, then you have first, and then files. And then as soon as you go to that files folder, it'll load in the page instead. State, did you have a question?
Um, no, actually, but I just thought of a question. My buddy has been tuning in here, Phenomena in the chat. I don't know what level of commitment he wants to put into this, but he's seemingly interested. So if he messages me back and he wants to catch up a little bit before next week, should I like what would be the best way to get him in the Slack? Just DM you, Alisher?
Yeah, one of us, either me or the TSI account, and we'll figure it out.
Okay.
Because typically past the first week, like we don't really allow people in because we have to provision a cPanel,
Right. It
and
wouldn't make sense.
it
I get it.
becomes a little he doesn't have as much time with the cPanel then if he joins later. But if he wants to join right before like within the next few days, yeah, just have him hit up one of our accounts. We'll get him in. It's gonna be the same process. He has to go, and then we'll approve him. He'll get the cPanel. We'll set him up with the first project and whatever we did. And these recordings of the recap are gonna be going up pretty soon, within like a few hours.
Cool. Thank you very much.
Yeah, no problem. Do you guys have any more questions? And then we'll end it.
We didn't do anything
don't.
with folders 2 and 3 yet, correct?
No, not yet. That's gonna be pretty much like whole different projects.
Sweet Alisha, I don't think anybody else has any more questions. Did you have any last little words of encouragement or closing notes for them? Great job on the recap. I think everybody's all caught up. And if you're not all caught up, guys, be sure to be DMing me, Sarah, Alisher, or TSI like Alistair said, this is the last week before we're going to be letting people in for the cPanel and the Slack for this season. So this is the cutoff week at the end here. So any last little questions? We might have one more. Sorry, Alistair, before we go into your closing notes. Amanda, did you have a last little question for Alistair before we go into closing notes?
You know what? I'm going to jump in real quick. Amanda, the class that we're in is not the one that you're on.
Yeah,
I,
I
I
know.
saw it. Okay, good. I was
I
like,
just wanted to
I'm
get your
looking at your
attention.
DM and I thought, this is not even familiar. But
No,
um,
that's perfect. If
okay.
that's what I wanted to do was say, I sent you a DM. I need help. Thanks, love.
It just takes me a minute because we have lots of them flooding in the background.
I
I'm
understand.
Yes, but I'm glad to see you here today, my friends, and I do hope that you come more often because I think you'd enjoy these classes and getting to know everything. And I will try to
I got to
marinate
pitch.
behind the scenes and help you out. Okay?
Yeah, it's done. It's just those two things, and I've been basically working on it for 2 days. I couldn't get Pixio to work, but I'll talk to you in DMs, lovely.
Excellent. And I will tell you, all entrepreneurs go through this stage. It becomes a brain worm, and you will spend 72 hours without sleep, shower, or anything. Your friends and family will disown you.
Hey,
Um,
Sarah, you hear
but
me?
it's the way of the
That's
world.
not a worry.
Yep,
I
go
do
ahead.
love them, Sarah.
Hey, it's Ross here, guys. How are you? So I just was working in the background. I heard something. Was something not working? I heard Pixie.
No, she's working on something behind the scenes. It's I'll send you a screenshot. She's just working on her project, but I don't think it's an error with the system, Ross.
No,
Well,
it's
if
me.
Go ahead,
feel
Amanda.
free, feel free to shoot me a message or tell me like we're happy to help if you have Pixio or have an issue.
I couldn't get Pixio to work.
What do you
Um,
what do you mean not work? Like, did you go to the website and what happened?
I don't. It wouldn't. Is it that one? It won't let me in because I have an iPad, and it wouldn't let me use it on there, even requesting a desktop site. There's no. But
So I want to make sure you're on the right place. Are you on Pixio.myapps.ai? Because we have a
I
lot
was.
of users on the iPad.
Yeah,
Ross,
I
I
was.
just sent you to the TSI her screenshot.
Yeah.
Where on TSI? Let's see.
Yes, sir.
Sorry, I'll
Yeah,
shut up.
that's weird. If you have that problem, I have a lot of people that actually use the iPad exclusively.
Actually, most of our students in the public schools use the iPad. It's the quick and easy, and that's
It's
the
for
tool of
for